I want to start with a contradiction, an anomaly in the data.
Okay.
There's a YouTube channel that has pulled in 3 million subscribers in under 365 days.
That's a rate of growth that historically you just don't see, not without a massive team or significant capital.
Or a celebrity lead. But here's the kicker. This channel has no camera crew,
None.
no traditional animation studio, no on-screen host, and yet estimates are placing its ad revenue alone at nearly $800,000 a year.
It creates what looks like, it looks like high budget, cinema quality, 3D animated documentaries.
Right.
And the market assumption, the logical one anyone would make, is that this kind of output requires a team of professional 3D designers.
Working around the clock in Maya or Blender.
Exactly, to get that kind of fidelity.
You look at it and you think, Pixar on a budget.
Mhm.
But the source we have today just tears that assumption apart.
Because.
We're looking at a forensic deconstruction of what's being called the Fern Strategy.
Mhm.
And the reality is this isn't a case study in creative genius.
No, it's a case study in structural efficiency. It's an automator's blueprint.
A blueprint.
Yeah. The source material is basically a technical breakdown of how to replicate this specific high-value asset class.
And it does it using a stack of AI tools to bypass every single technical barrier.
It turns a creative process into, well, a manufacturing process.
So our mission today isn't to critique the art. It's to dissect the system.
We're going to walk through the workflow.
From a raw idea to a high-retention, revenue-generating asset, all without the creator ever drawing a single frame.
We should probably start by defining the asset class itself, because Fern isn't just a random name.
No.
In this context, it refers to a very specific aesthetic style that's just dominating the algorithm right now.
Right. If you've been on YouTube lately, you've probably seen these. They're no-face videos.
Documentary style.
And visually, they have this very specific, slightly abstract, low-poly look. It's like a video game from the late 90s, but rendered with modern lighting.
Low poly is the key term there. It implies a geometric, sort of simplified art style. And the engagement metrics on these are, well, they're startling.
The source mentions a high bingeability factor.
Yes, viewers don't just watch one, they stay for hours. From an algorithmic perspective, that's the holy grail.
It signals retention. It signals that the viewer is satisfied.
But here's why the opportunity exists, according to our source. This niche is surprisingly uncrowded, and the reason is what it calls the skill gap assumption.
A psychological barrier.
Totally. Most creators look at a 3D animated documentary and think, okay, I need to learn 3D modeling, I need to understand lighting engines.
I need to learn keyframe animation.
Right, and that's a multi-year learning curve, so they just don't even try. They self-select out of the market before they even begin.
But the breakdown we're looking at reveals that the Fern channel and the copycats that are finding success, they're not doing any of that.
No, the secret isn't animation fidelity. It's the storytelling structure combined with a very specific, low-friction AI workflow.
So they've turned a technical challenge into a prompt engineering challenge.
Which effectively drops the barrier to entry to almost zero. If you understand the system, you can compete. You're trading skill for leverage.
So let's build the system. Step one is the narrative engine. You can have the best visuals in the world, but if the story is boring,
nobody watches. The source describes a workflow for automated research that's pretty clever. It starts with topic selection.
And this is where most people fail. They just go to a chatbot and say, give me a video idea.
And the output is generic because the input is generic. But the system described here uses a custom GPT model. This is a crucial distinction.
So the model isn't just a general purpose one?
Not at all. It's been trained specifically on data from successful channels in this exact niche.
So wait, before they even ask for a topic, they're feeding the AI transcripts from hundreds of viral videos.
Correct. They're feeding it the data of what works. The model analyzes patterns, pacing, tone. It's looking for the structural DNA of a million-view video.
It's not guessing. It's looking at what has worked and generating variations. It's basically doing regression analysis on viral content.
Exactly. And in the experiment our source ran, the topic the AI came up with was John Teeter. Now, I actually remember this deep internet lore. It fits the profile perfectly.
For anyone who doesn't know, John Teeter was a figure who appeared on internet forums back in the early 2000s.
Claiming to be a time traveler.
Right, from the year 2036. He posted photos of a device, made these predictions, and then he just vanished.
And why does the AI choose this? It's not random. The source highlights that this topic fits the Fern format perfectly.
How so?
It uses scientific language concepts like quantum drift, but it wraps them in mystery. It has what the source calls quiet confidence.
It creates tension. There are unanswered questions.
And a documentary works best when you're trying to solve a puzzle.
Okay, so the topic is selected. Now, usually you'd write a script, then think about visuals. But the source says this workflow combines them.
This is the efficiency hack. The prompt for the custom GPT asks for the script and the scene descriptions simultaneously.
At the same time.
Yes, it locks in the visual roadmap before a single image is even generated.
That seems like a small detail, but it must save hours.
It saves days. You aren't writing a script and then struggling to visualize it later. You're generating a blueprint where the audio and the visual are coupled from birth.
Okay, so we have a script about a time traveler from 2036. We have descriptions of scenes. Now we hit the part that scares people, the visual assembly line.
How do we get that professional 3D look without using 3D software?
Right.
This is where we get into what the source calls generative 3D. The goal is achieving that low poly or polygonal look. And the method isn't modeling, it's prompting.
But it's not just typing cool robot.
No. The source emphasizes what it calls the consistency protocol. And this was interesting. They didn't just generate images randomly. They tested hundreds of variations to find one specific prompt template.
One master template.
That's the key to the branding. If every scene looks like it was made by a different artist or a different AI, the viewer's immersion breaks. It feels cheap.
But if you find that master template,
you just swap out the subject description for each scene, and you create a cohesive aesthetic universe.
So why specifically low poly? Why not just ask for photorealism?
Well, that's a strategic choice. Photorealistic AI often has hallucinations, weird artifacts, 6 fingers on a hand, strange text.
Breaks the illusion.
Exactly. Low poly is abstract. It's forgiving. If a geometric shape is slightly off, the viewer just accepts it as a stylistic choice.
So you can produce content faster because you're not fighting the AI for perfection.
Precisely. So for the John Titor video, they established a look maybe dark, moody, geometric, and then every single image runs through that same filter.
The result being a folder of static images that look like they belong to the same high-budget project.
But they are still just static images. A documentary needs movement. This brings us to the kinetic layer.
Right, you can't just have a slideshow. That's a PowerPoint presentation, not a documentary. The source points to image-to-video tools, specifically mentioning a tool called Leonardo AI.
And specifically, the leverage here comes from their Motion 2.0 models. We need to understand what this tool is actually doing. It isn't just shaking the image.
You're applying camera movement presets, terms like dolly and pan.
Wait, explain that. You're telling the AI to dolly into a static 2D image.
That's right. The AI analyzes the static image, it infers the 3D geometry, what's in the foreground, what's in the background, and then it simulates a camera moving through that space.
It creates parallax.
Parallax is the key word here.
It is. Parallax is that visual phenomenon where objects closer to you move faster than objects in the distance. It's how our brain processes depth.
And that's the game changer.
Yeah.
Because manually keyframing parallax making, the background moves slower than the foreground, so it looks 3D. That is hours of work in After Effects.
You have to mask layers, separate them, build a camera rig.
And here, it's a toggle.
Right. You control the resolution, the aspect ratio, but the AI handles the physics of the movement. It turns those static John Titor images into short animated clips that feel cinematic.
So we have the script, we have the visuals, we have the motion. But the source says a documentary lives or dies by its voiceover, the auditory anchor.
This is often the dead giveaway of low-effort content,
Yeah.
that robotic, flat narration.
But the standard for this Fern strategy is that it must be indistinguishable from a human narrator. The tool mentioned is 11 Labs, which is fairly standard, but the application is what matters.
It's the nuance. The source explicitly says this is not a copy-paste job. You don't just dump the script in.
You have to use punctuation and formatting within the text prompt to control the pacing.
Correct. You use commas, ellipses, paragraph breaks to force the AI to pause, to breathe, to change its cadence. If the script is discussing something ominous, the voice needs to slow down. It needs gravitas.
You're effectively directing the performance through text.
Exactly. If you just paste text, you get a reader. If you format for performance, you get a narrator. The source highlights that simulating the breath is simulating humanity,
And then there's the sound design, the music.
which sits beneath the voice. The source is very specific about this. The music enhances the emotion, but it can't compete for attention. It just glues everything together.
Okay, so we have all the raw materials. Now we move to the final stage, assembly. And the source warns about the zero view problem here, which I want to get to. But first, the edit itself.
Some strict rules here. Rule number 1, remove all silent gaps.
In a high-retention environment like YouTube, silence is an exit ramp for the viewer.
The pacing has to be tight. Visual clips must be matched exactly to the narration length.
But then, and this is my favorite part of the breakdown, the source suggests leaving intentional gaps.
Yes. This is counterintuitive, but brilliant. You don't want 100% AI animation. It becomes hypnotic in a bad way, too abstract.
So the intentional gaps are spaces in the visual timeline reserved for real-world context.
News clips, archival footage.
Images of the actual John Teeter forum posts.
Exactly. When you mix the abstract, low-poly AI animation with gritty, real-world footage, it grounds the story.
It tells the viewer, this isn't just a cartoon. This is about our reality.
It validates the narrative. And that mix of media is what keeps the brain engaged.
And to polish it off, the source mentions using AI to generate paper-cut text animations to highlight key data points, dates, names, theories.
It creates visual variety. You have 3D animation, real footage, and motion graphics. That's the trifecta of a professional documentary.
So you assemble it all, you export, you have a product that looks like it cost $10,000 to produce, you upload it to your brand new channel, and zero views.
The zero view problem.
The source spent some time on this. A lot of creators panic here. They think they're shadow banned because they used AI.
Which is almost never the case. The diagnosis is clinical. It's a lack of channel trust.
What does that mean?
YouTube's algorithm is a prediction engine. It needs data to predict who will like a video. A new channel has zero data history. No watch time, no user profiles.
So the system just doesn't know who to show it to. It's a cold start problem.
Precisely. It's not malice, it's a lack of signal. The source suggests the fix is simply patience, or, more aggressively, using aged channels that already have some data history.
But fundamentally, if the content retention is high,
which this system is designed to ensure, then the algorithm eventually finds the audience.
It's purely a data acquisition phase.
Right. If the product is good, and by good we mean high retention, the distribution will solve itself. The algorithm is ruthless, but it's rational. It wants watch time. If you provide watch time, it will provide views.
So let's zoom out. We've just unpacked a full stack. We started with a vague idea about a time traveler. We used a custom GPT to structure it into a viral format.
We used image generators with a consistency protocol to build a world. We used motion AI to make it cinematic.
We used voice synthesis to narrate it, and we edited it with a mix of real and generated footage.
And we did it without a studio, without a camera, and without a degree in design.
That's the implication that really stuck with me. The source ends on this point about the shift in what it even means to be a creator now.
It's the shift from technical execution to system architecture. In the past, your limit was your hands. Could you draw? Could you model? Could you light a scene?
Those were the hard constraints.
Yeah.
Now, the constraint is your ability to design the workflow.
Yes. The skill set is structural. It's about how you prompt, how you assemble, the intentionality behind the story. The machine handles the rendering. You handle the vision.
You're no longer the laborer. You're the foreman.
Right.
The source mentions that the John Teeter story, the one they used for the case study, it ends with a loop. A man from 2036 warning of a fractured world, speaking with this quiet certainty.
And in a way, that mirrors what this source is doing. It's not hyping the technology. It's just calmly explaining that the future of content creation is already here. The tools aren't coming, they're deployed.
It raises a final question for everyone listening. If the barrier to creating professional-grade reality is now effectively zero, and success relies only on execution, are you limited by your skills anymore?
Or are you just limited by your lack of a system?
That's the question. We'll leave you to think on that. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.